So once again, good afternoon, and thank you for joining the Ohio Department of Education and COSI. COSI is going to really lead the show because this is their wonderful creation. I'm Kimberly Bell, the STEM Education Specialist with the Ohio Department of Education, and I also have Kathy Holmes. She is one of our science consultants with the Department of Education. But like I said, this is really COSI show, so I'm going to pass it off to Stephen White, and he's going to get the COSI side of things going.
Yeah, well, thanks so much, Kimberly. Really appreciate everyone joining us here today. I do want to try to share my screen, but I don't know if I have access. Kimberly, looks like I'm getting access here now. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. I want to do some quick introductions here before we start, if I may. My name is Stephen White. I'm one of the vice presidents at COSI, the Center of Science and Industry, overseeing areas around strategic initiatives. I've been around for COSI for about 2 years, really focused on really engaging, inspiring, and transforming lives and communities across Ohio. And I'd like to introduce a few of my colleagues here. Turn it over to Allie. Allie, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Allie Greiwe. I'm the Director of External Affairs at COSI, so work really closely with Stephen on partnerships, especially in the public space. I think I'm the newest to the COSI team. I've been here since February, so before that was in Chicago, so quite an interesting time to move and start a new job. But so far, COSI has been a lot of fun to work for, and a lot of great colleagues. So on that note, I will turn it over to Alex to introduce herself. She is here. I think she might be having some troubles getting in, but if not, actually, I'll switch it to Kelly, if you don't mind.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kelly Kinzig, and I'm an educator in the education department. I think I shorted out for a second there. My name is Kelly Kinzig, and I'm an educator in the education department here at COSI. And my background is in early childhood education. And I've been here at COSI for about 3 years. And prior to that, I taught third grade in the classroom in the Dayton area for a few years as well. So I kind of have both that formal and informal education experience. And in the education department here at COSI, I have experience working with COSI on Wheels, as well as our outreach workshops, which go into the schools. So we hope that we can be helpful to you guys by providing some resources that you guys can use in your classrooms as well. I am not sure that Alex has been able to get on the call yet, so Stephen, I will pass it back over to you.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I'm trying to bear with me for one moment. I am trying to share my screen.
And Alex did just get on the call. So Alex, we can pass it over to you while Stephen is pulling up his screen.
Can you hear me and see me? Oh, cool. Okay. You both were saying, I'm not sure if she's here. I was like, I don't know if you can see me, but here I am. Hi, everybody. Thanks for the intro. My name is Alex Wilkins. I am a project manager, program manager here at COSI. I have been with COSI for just over 3 years after finishing up grad school at the Ohio State. I'm actually from North Carolina originally, so kind of transitioned to becoming a Buckeye, getting familiar with the standards, all of that stuff. Like Kelly, I have done COSI on Wheels. I have done outreach workshops. So I have been in many elementary schools, middle schools, high schools all over Ohio, and even at the Midwest at large. So I love working in the schools. I love having partnerships with teachers and after school providers and kids clubs and all of that stuff. So I'm really thrilled to kind of be able to share what we have to offer and some of the stuff that we've been working on recently. So thank you so much for letting us join. I'm going to pass it back to Stephen.
Well, great. Thanks so much, Alex. And thank ODE for the opportunity to talk a little bit about some really neat opportunities to work together around this incredible time right now that we're all sort of facing. It's unprecedented. We know that, but we're all in it together. And so one of the things that we're going to be talking about is how do we reach that peak of success, even in the middle of a pandemic and beyond, and how do we do that together? How do we rise together during this time? And we're going to talk to you about some free resources that are available that we have put together as that is available to the state of Ohio, as well as teachers and families across Ohio. And so with that, I'm going to introduce a concept called COSI Connects here shortly. But again, first I want to just introduce and just reintroduce my colleagues that are joining here today. And I have to say that having folks like Alex and Kelly and Allie on the team who have not only backgrounds in policy and education, but really have had the opportunity to work hand in glove with educators who are working on the front lines to support our youth and to support our students and putting every student forward every day, which is something that we're very proud of here at COSI. So for those of you who have not been to COSI, we are the Center of Science and Industry. We are a statewide science center housed in Columbus, Ohio. This is our building. It's about 3 football fields long. If you've ever wondered, you've never been here before, something that we have amazing exhibits that are filled from everything from chemistry to dinosaurs to space. But one of the things that we know is that as we talk about engaging, inspiring, and transforming, it's much more than beyond the building itself. It's in the community. It's in the classroom. It's at home. And so about 2 years ago, we created a new strategic plan at COSI to create a new vision and a new mission statement. And that's what you see here, which is to engage, inspire, and transform. That's our lives and communities. That's our why. That's our vision. And our mission is to be the best partner in science, technology, and industry learning. You combine those two together, you get this great vision and mission statement. This is new. We stand on the shoulders of giants. COSI has been around for over 55 years. And as we shape the next 55 years, this is really our anchor as we move forward. And you're going to hear that partnership piece come up over and over again as I turn it over to my colleagues here in a common thread between the presentation today. We are the #1 science center in the nation, with something that was bestowed upon us by the great people of the nation by USA Today earlier this year in March before this whole pandemic thing hit. So it's something we're proud of and we wear on our sleeve. We are a statewide science center, so we impact about 1.2 million Ohioans a year. That's about 10% of our state's population, and about 700,000 come through our physical building, and the rest are off-site, usually through our what's called our COSI on Wheels program, where we take a truck, a COSI truck, and drive it out to a school and take over the school for the day, all delivering hands-on experiential learning. One of the things that we know right now is that the skills gap is very challenging in our state. When we talk about the skills gap, we mean those jobs that are open right now, but we've got very high unemployment rates. And so the question is, how do we give folks the skills necessary to get those jobs of today and the jobs of the future? And COSI is that tip of the spear, really engaging and making hands-on science fun and engaging, comfortable for students to want to go into those particular career paths of the future. We do that through initiatives. We have under our strategic plan, we have a bunch of big initiatives and a bunch of big goals that we strive to serve our community. And we do that through initiatives. One big initiative is what we call the COSI Science Festival. This year, like many events, we had to take digital because of some of the challenges associated with COVID. We're going to tell you a little bit about the festival because it's an opportunity that's going to be coming up for all of you who are on the line here today to join us and to participate with us as we deliver free STEM and immerse our entire state in science, technology, and industry learning. So the Science Festival, as I mentioned earlier, went digital this past year. And so it's great events like this where we take over in partnership with 18 different cities across Ohio over the span of a 4-day period every single May. So just this past May, going from May 6th through the 9th, and next year it'll be May 5th. Starting in May 5th, we work with mayors, county commissioners, schools, parents to do hands-on experiences at churches, community centers, parks, across the board. And this year we had to take it digital. So you saw events like this, and it was Ohio's largest STEM event in our state's history. It will continue to be that for the future, including next year as well. Even had the governor get into the action. And for those of you who have not tried the First Lady's Sidewalk Chalk, encourage you to check that out, which is a really great way of engaging chemistry for fun for our community. It's also a national event, so we work very closely with NASA, for example. This is Jim Bridenstine, who is the NASA administrator. I call him the CEO of NASA, if you will, talking about the future of the aerospace and aviation industry and how we all collectively are going to create the Artemis generation to go to the moon and into Mars. And that's our CEO, Dr. Frederick Bertley, there on the right. If you haven't had a chance to meet Frederick or see the COSI Chucks yet, would love to get that experience over to you and get a chance to meet him as well. Then we also introduced folks like Paul DeBar, who's the Undersecretary of Energy through the U.S. Department of Energy. Really great talking about the future of energy. In all, this past year, the COSI Science Festival was a huge success, impacting over 100,000 people in 20 states and 70 countries. We even had a bio blitz where we work with communities all over Ohio and families to identify 32 new species here in our great state of Ohio. Just an example of just one of the many types of events that we would like to partner with you all who are on this meeting here today for next year's Science Festival. We'd like to start planning that now. So if you're interested in being part of the festival next year, please reach out to us. Again, it's going to be May 5th through the 8th of 2021, and we're going to be in cities across the great state. So really hope to see you there at the festival next year and partner with you on that. But one of the things we're going to talk about today is we're going to give you a showcase of some of the free resources that COSI has developed over the course of the spring and the summer and now heading into the fall. And then at the end of this, we're going to walk you through 3 exercises that each of you can do as an example of leveraging these free resources, both in the classroom setting, but then also at the at-home setting or a hybrid approach that you could use as an example. And at the backbone here is data drives all of our decisions at COSI. We have an advisory network of about 20,000 educators across Ohio. And what we do is we reach out to them periodically to help craft our experiences and our programs that are delivering informal education. But we also look at data like this from McKinsey Company and some of the challenges associated with what we're seeing right now play out across Ohio communities as well as the nation around distance learning. And you go from this type of environment to this type of environment at home, obviously there's challenges associated with that. And the good thing is we know that our teachers have really stepped up and they're doing phenomenal and incredible things right now to support our youth. And so we at COSI want to be that best partner to be able to help amplify some of those experiences that we're seeing. And so what we did, starting in when we closed our doors, our physical doors, at COSI in March of this past year, which by the way, we're actually still closed to the public. We're planning to reopen on November 20th. So we hope to see you after November 20th. We're really excited about that. But when we closed our physical building doors, our community doors stayed open, but then we opened them even wider across the digital realm and also across some of the physical realm that we'll share here in a moment. So we activated on 3 different levels, 3 legs of the stool, if you will. One was on a digital level, offering free resources that Allie's going to tell you about. Then there's the physical level that Alex and I are going to talk a little bit about. And then there's a partnership that some of that digital experiences that we saw. So Allie, I'm going to turn it over to you. Can you still see my screen?
Yes, we can. Thanks, Stephen. So
Okay,
as
great.
Stephen mentioned, back in March, we did close our physical doors. So hopefully me moving to Columbus didn't bring the bad luck, but I'm proud to say that we came up with a really innovative digital solution to still being a hands-on center. So that's called COSI Connects. This is available every day of the year, and it's going to be available long after, we get a vaccine. This is something we will continue to offer as a resource, especially to teachers here. And Stephen, it looks like it might be froze. Is it frozen on your end? Sorry, Stephen. I think you might be on mute. Well, no worries. We can wait for that to reload. But The basic premise of COSI Connects is that we at COSI, as Stephen mentioned, have an external network of expertise with our teachers, people like NASA, Department of Energy, but we also have our internal network, people like Kelly and Alex, who are COSI educators. And we use their expertise to post an activity a day. Usually that's in the form of a video. It could also be a podcast, a STEM science challenge, and you name it. A great resource, and we'll see it once. I know we have a large meeting, so the screen might be lagged, but we do have the activities. They're able to be filtered by subject and by age range. So we'll give it a minute to let that pop up so you can see what it looks like in practice. But again, this is all free and available to you every day of the week. So I might give it a minute. Is everyone able to still hear me okay? Just want to make sure because it looks like Stephen's screen went away.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, you're good. It's welcome to Teams.
Yes, welcome to Teams. Welcome to 2022, right?
Yeah. And I did mute Stephen just because of the feedback, but okay, and he muted himself, so we're good.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the slide deck back up. I apologize.
It's not you, it's technology.
No, yep, no worries.
I think we're all in a community of understanding that technology has its glitches.
Yes, it does. And while we're waiting for that to pop back up, I'll do a little bit more of who needs slides, a little more talking. They're nice visuals to accompany it, but we do, as Stephen mentioned, rely on partners. And one of the really great partners we have is not only with the Science Festival, but Governor DeWine and his office are great partners of ours, including Fran DeWine. And we have a great partnership with the Imagination Library, which if you're age 0 to 5 in Ohio, you can get a free library book to your home. So that's been a great COVID resource. Partner with the Columbus Metropolitan Library to do a weekly library hour, and that's been a great success, great hit. It goes over very well for especially our early learners. Looks like the screen is almost back up. We'll give it one more second. Perfect. Now you can see what COSI Connects looks like. So if you just Google COSI Connects, this is the screen you get. Like I mentioned earlier, you can filter by subject, you can filter by age. It's not just the videos, the YouTube videos you see here, but it's podcasts, it's STEM science challenges, it's citizen science challenges like the BioBlitz we held across Ohio to identify new species. So these are continuing to evolve, and we really want to make it interactive, including the feature of TeachBack, which we have here. So the whole premise of TeachBack is to support learning retention. This is to encourage a child or anyone consuming the COSI Connects content to teach it back to their educator, to their parent, to their caregiver by recording a session of them teaching back the material and posting on social media. This is not only a fun way for us to see how the content is being consumed, but it's also, again, a good evaluation tool to how well that student is learning. And, us at COSI, we support hands-on interactive learning. So this has also been a great feature in partnership with Can't Stop Columbus. So like I mentioned earlier, sans slide, we do have a great partnership with Fran DeWine and her team at the Imagination Library. We also have the Columbus Metropolitan Library Hour, which we have a week of reading, which we kicked off with the CEO a couple weeks ago. So again, it's not just the science, but it's the art component, it's the literacy component as well. Kelly will go over this in one of our exercises at the end. But a really great feature is, when I was a kid, I remember going to COSI for field trips. Well, we have virtual field trips now, and we will reopen November 20th, by the way. So hopefully to see you in person here soon in a couple weeks. But this is a screen grab of that virtual exhibit. We'll go over this at the end, but again, emphasizing that this is a free resource for you. So if you're having a dinosaur unit, this is a great way to accompany that lesson plan. Bearing all this in mind, like Stephen mentioned earlier, we are a data-driven organization. We are a science center. And one of the things we recognize is that going digital is sometimes not enough. You have the whole digital divide, the concerns to accompany it. So what we did is we looked at the data, we looked at local reports, and found that the digital divide problem can be broken down into 3 components. As you all on this call are well aware, it's about infrastructure, it's about lack of broadband, it's also about digital literacy. Something that previous study taught us is that it's how well can students, and hey, even myself and as an adult, consume online content and be able to utilize it most effectively, like how we have Teams trouble sometimes. But you can see here, this is a really interesting map. The dark purple here shows counties where 30% or more of homes lack access to broadband. So we can really see that this is an issue affecting the southeast portion of the state. But if you zoom in here in our own backyard of COSI's Columbus, you can see that this is an issue affecting those in urban areas as well. So the digital divide does not discriminate. It's all over the state. What we also found in terms of data is that of those households making $30,000 or less, over 90% of the teens still do have access to smartphone as a piece of infrastructure. So what we did at COSI is we met them where they are, and we did that by creating a mobile app to make sure that people can still get this free COSI Connects content where they live, learn, and lounge. So here's a screen grab of what the app looks like here. So everything on that web platform can be found in that mobile app. Perhaps the most exciting feature of the app is that it does have offline capability. So if a student is by a hotspot, or if they are out in the community able to go to the library and get a hotspot, they can download the weekly material on their mobile device and then use it later offline, even if they don't have access to internet at home. And we do have the digital challenge there, which is the digital literacy component that we'll talk about later. You know, COSI Connects would not be made possible if it weren't for our partners and our great support network, one of them being the Ohio After School Network. They worked with us from the very beginning to make sure that students were really aware of the community hotspots if they didn't have access at home. We also work with partners like CODA, the libraries, like I mentioned, and another, key suite of partners, which again, we'll talk about later. But on that note, I'll hand it back over to you, Stephen, to talk about the physical side.
Thank you so much, Allie. And again, apologize for that. I had some technical difficulties there, which is, it's the norm these days, right? So as Allie mentioned, we did what we could to develop, how do you bridge that digital divide, recognizing that you need digital resources now more than ever. And so that cornucopia of experiences that are available through the COSI Connects website, encourage everyone to check that out. There are hundreds of free activities. And what's great about those activities is that it not only comes with a video, but it comes on with the hands-on activity that we're going to demonstrate here in a moment, with regular materials that you can use around your kitchen cabinet or even in your classroom. So you don't necessarily have to go out to the store and buy a bunch of stuff. And then we created that mobile app to make sure that those kids who didn't have access to the internet could still participate just by simply downloading that to their phone, where they can use offline at home even without the internet. But then we said, okay, we know that there are some folks out there who still don't have access to that. So what we did is we created a new program, or a pilot program in June, where we said, let's take all that great COSI Connects content and let's put it into a box. And then we had to figure out, okay, well, how do we distribute that in the middle of a pandemic? And so what we did is we said, okay, let's distribute it alongside meal providers, knowing that students still have to get meals, right? And so we partnered with the Children's Hunger Alliance, and the idea was pretty straightforward. They pick up their meal for the week, and then they would get their science for the week and their STEM for the week. So you'd feed their hungry lives and you would feed their hungry minds at the same time. And that was a huge success. When we kicked this off in June, it was like, opening up these kits like Christmas morning, some experiences there, just really tremendous feedback. And that gave birth to what's called the COSI Learning Lunchbox, which I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Alex, to talk a little bit more about that.
Thanks, Stephen. So if you haven't seen or really heard anything about our learning lunchboxes, they are on the screen right in front of you. So just like Stephen said, it is the physical implementation of all of these wonderful activities that are up on our website. This is the box that you're seeing here is what they looked back in July. And we've been really, really hard at work kind of making them bigger and stronger and better and fuller. So since July, we've really just been growing and more higher quality activities. But you can see in there, it's all of the things that you need to do the activities. We include seeds and workbooks, and I'll talk about all of these, all of the kind of little bits and pieces that go into the lunch boxes. So just like Stephen said, we've been partnering with meal distribution providers, and what we do is we pass them out, or we have been passing them out in a kind of a COVID safe, socially distanced way. So we piggyback off the meal distribution providers. When cars come up to get their free meal, they also get a COSI Learning Lunchbox, just totally for free. And this is a way that, like Stephen said, we're feeding their hungry lives, but also their minds, knowing that education is really an essential service, just like food. We, throughout the summer and even continuing on, we're building anywhere between 500 and well north of that, up to 1,000 or so boxes every single week. So you can imagine what the production looks like inside COSI right now. But we are producing so many because the demand is so high. So COSI is here in Columbus, and what you're seeing on this slide is St. Stephen's Community House, also here in Columbus. You can see cars that are just lining up around the parking lot and out the door, out the block, around the block. This is from, I believe this aerial shot is from Dayton. So the need is really, really high. So people are really coming in, not just to get their free meal, if they might be food insecure, but they're also coming for new and fresh ways to do distance learning. We partner with local officials. I think this is the mayor of Athens. And we're garnering a lot of support from not only our end users, right, our community that's using these boxes, but also people in government, publicly elected officials are really supportive of what we're doing. You can see here Representative Shayla Favors on the 614 shirt. They're coming and helping us distribute these boxes. So you might be wondering what's in the box. We put 5 activities in, and all of those 5 activities pair with an activity that is on COSI Connects. And I see that Kimberly Bell put the link to COSI Connects in the chat, so you have that link right there. So we put 5 activities in. We put in all of the instructions and all of the videos that they link to. But we also put in all the supplies that you need. And what I think is so cool about our boxes is that we are not just putting in arts and crafts, which we know are a very important part of learning, but as COSI, our foundation really is science. So we are putting in real science supplies, binoculars and batteries, scissors, pipettes. My background is actually in the life sciences. I spent a whole summer in a genetics lab doing pipetting. So we're helping these kids learn about microscopes and microscope slides and safety glasses. How do you stay safe? So that's something that I'm really proud of, is that it's real science that they're doing, and it's really easy and it's really accessible. We try to keep our boxes really general, so we put in coloring pages, word searches, really every single thing that the kids need. Again, we don't really assume that they have anything at home with them. So what you'll see here, we include pens, we include their own workbooks, where they have space to take notes and ideate and blueprint, and you know, we ask guiding questions too, to give them a kind of a little push. We also include other sorts of literature. So you heard Allie talk a little bit about internet deserts or digital divide. Even if people have access to Wi-Fi, we can't be sure that they actually know how to use it. So it's those soft skills as well. So we're teaching how to use QR codes, things like that, how to connect with COSI Connects offline. I will turn it back over for now for Stephen to talk about the partnerships, but I might step back in and talk about any other activities or box themes in just a few minutes.
Yeah, well, thanks so much, Alex. And so as Alex mentioned, you know, this would not be possible without the collective partnerships that we've been able to work with folks really all over Ohio and the nation. And one of the things that we've done is we've looked at you know, as we've expanded, and we've been at over 10 cities across Ohio right now with the Learning Lunchbox distributions. And so we partner with not only local officials like the mayors and county commissioners, but we also partner with other museums around the state as well. So for example, when we were in Lima several weeks ago, partnering with the Imagination Station, or when we were in Parma, for example, about 4 weeks ago, 4 or 5 weeks ago, partnering with the Great Lakes Science Center, which also includes many of their activities that are also in these learning lunchboxes as well. So really just a recognition that partnerships, that we're kind of all in this together as we work to educate the community. And so because of that, we expanded into several themes. Not just general science topics, but topics around certain things like the water box, for example, that you see here, and we'll go through some of these in more greater detail in a bit, but everything from chromatography flowers to understanding surface tension inside these boxes. You can see there are a few examples of folks sharing on social media the activities that they're doing with these kids. It's very similar to the nature box as well, talking a little bit about everything from bird watching to biomimicry to what's in a watershed that you see there. Space box, we work very closely with NASA on this one. Everything from building a rocket to understanding what's it like when you crash a crater, and some of the science behind that. Really engaging activities. One of the things we're really excited about is working with the U.S. Department of Energy on an energy box. One of the things that we recognize is that there are a lot of folks underrepresented right now in STEM fields, women, those of individuals of color. And so one of the things we included was a coloring book associated with women of color and women in STEM who had done amazing things in the energy sector, and partnering with the U.S. Department of Energy and the secretary there to kick that off over the summer. That space box with NASA, really creating that Artemis generation with Jim Bridenstine, as well as the NASA Glenn team up in Northeast Ohio. Just really spectacular activities. In all, we have about 8 different themes. Right now, 5 of those, including the human body and dinosaurs, around these learning lunchboxes. And one of the things we're very cognizant of is addressing that digital divide, like digital literacy, that Alex and Allie talked a little bit about, gamification of digital literacy. But then what's really critical here is that all of these activities are directly back mapped to the Ohio Learning Standards and the Ohio Remote Guidelines set by a department of our leadership at the Department of Education. And so in each of these boxes, the educators and caregivers get these essentially the standards that are aligned for each of these activities. So for example, here with our space box, you can see designing this parachute and all the different standards that we're hitting associated with those activities, and even some of these other activities as well. What's great about it is that the activities in each of these boxes are geared for grades K through 8, but it has 5 days worth of activities and 10 hours of content. But if they want to learn more, they have the ability to do that by going directly back to that COSI Connects platform, which features hundreds and hundreds of other activities. So you might ask, well, how do I get one of these learning lunchboxes? Great question. One of the things that we are doing right now is collecting information. These kits are publicly funded. And so if those of you who are interested in getting a learning lunchbox, let us know via email, like kits@cosi.org. We're going to send you an access form to fill out. So that way, if you qualify and we're going to be in the community, we'll reach out to you to be able to help try to get you some of these learning lunchboxes. But what's so great about the learning lunchbox, this is what's so great about it, is that we created a digital resource, a toolkit, if you will, that's available, that these are things that you can do inside these kits that you as educators and as parents can do at home on your own with the activities, because they're all built off of the backbone of that COSI Connects platform, which are things that you can do around your kitchen cabinet. And so with that, this is what it looks like. If you haven't had a chance to take it, we encourage you to please check that out. And we'll get that over to you. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Kelly, to walk you through an example of what we're talking about and how easy it is to utilize this COSI Connects platform. So Kelly, can I turn it over to you for this section?
Sounds great. Hello, everyone. So both Allie and Steven spoke a little bit to our COSI Connects page a little bit earlier. And so when you go to cosi.org/COSI Connects there, or I think Allie mentioned earlier, you can type it into Google and it will also pull up there. But there are videos that have been posted every single day since March. So we now have an archive of hundreds of videos that either feature COSI team members or partners speaking about specific topics. That is, it could be space, energy, human body, etc. And when you are actually on this page, you can search videos and activities by the subject as well as the age range. So you can look up specifically early childhood videos or elementary videos, middle school, high school, even adult videos on there. And you can actually go ahead and you can search for specific ideas if you want to. So if you can go ahead and turn to the next slide there, Stephen. You can specifically search a question. Did dinosaurs live in Ohio? And there is a specific activity around that. And we will go ahead and play for you an example of what a video might look like. So here is the Did Dinosaurs Live in Ohio video.
All right, let's see. And let me know, Kelly, if you can hear this on your screen. If not, I'm going to have to unshare and share again to see if it'll play.
I can hear it. Thank you, Stephen.
This winter, we asked COSI members to write down some of the things that they've always wondered about. We received so many great questions and wonderings that in today's Fossil Friday, I'm going to answer one of them. One of our members asks, did dinosaurs live in Ohio? This has got to be one of the most common questions we get here at COSI. Unfortunately, we don't have any dinosaur fossils from Ohio, none. But why is that? Fossils are found in the rocks that they were deposited in. If you have rocks of that age, you have a chance of finding fossils from that time period. Dinosaurs, excepting birds, existed from around 240 million years ago to about 66 million years ago. Scientists call the chunk of time, including this range, the Mesozoic era. Ohio has a rich geologic history, but what we don't have is rocks from the Mesozoic era. The surface rocks in Ohio capture most of the early history of animal life from the Ordovician period, about 485 million years ago, to the Permian period, about 250 million years ago. All rocks younger than that have been eroded away and are gone forever. That's the bad news. Now for the good news. Ohio does have some amazing fossils like Dunkleosteus torelli, the armored fish from the famous Cleveland Shale, just to name one. It gets even better. Geologists do know that Ohio was not underwater during the age of dinosaurs. We also know that dinosaurs lived all over, including Antarctica. So what does that mean? That's right, dinosaurs did live in Ohio. If you want to know more about dinosaurs, come check out the American Museum of Natural History Dinosaur Gallery at COSI. That's it for Fossil Friday. Have a great weekend. If you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
So right there, you were able to see an example of a video that you might be able to find on COSI Connects. And again, there are hundreds of videos on there with all different topics. But in addition to the videos that are on there, they also have activity lesson plan write-ups. So these are great for educators that might be looking just to add a little extra supplemental science content to their classroom or just a fun activity to do for the week. You will see, here's an example, and right here on this page, it says this activity is geared for grades 1 through 8. And you might be thinking that's a really wide age range. And the reason why it is such a large age range there is because this is an activity that we feel is engaging and interesting for this wide age range group. However, what you would do with this activity with a first grade class is obviously going to look very different than what you would do with an 8th grade class. But we, in those write-ups, have provided opportunities for modifications and extensions. And of course, you guys as the expert educators can also decide how you want to use that information to best suit your students. But anyways, I'm not going to bore you with reading all of the instructions there. You can read that on your own if you would like. However, kind of a fun fact in this activity that you may or may not know, you can see two skulls right there. And the top one there is Dimetrodon, and the one down below is Herrerasaurus. And in this activity, it goes to show the difference between how you can tell if something is a dinosaur or if something is another animal that might be more of a reptile or a mammal that lived during the age of dinosaurs. So the fun fact here that you can see in the picture is that Dimetrodon on the top there actually does not have enough holes in its head to make it classified as a dinosaur, whereas Herrerasaurus on the bottom has holes in front of its eye, behind its eye, and on top of its head, which shows that it is a dinosaur. But in this specific activity, it gives some opportunities for students to journal after seeing the video and learning more about these skulls. And Alex will actually be showing you a little bit later on. She'll be showing you how some of our activities, they have more hands-on experiment portions of them with common materials that you can use in your classroom. So this one is maybe more one that you would have the students do some research, you could talk about. But again, Alex will walk you through another example later on. So in addition to all of our COSI Connects activities that we have right there on the website, we also have the option for virtual field trips. And so in the educator toolkit infographic here that I hope all of you have received, there is an option right there that you can see circled in red where there are virtual field trips with 360-degree tours of these COSI exhibitions. So I will actually go ahead and take you on a tour of our American Museum of Natural History dinosaur right here at COSI. And I can go ahead and share my screen if, here in just a second. Okay, so let me share my screen here. Can everyone see my screen?
Not quite yet.
Oh, hold on just a second. Can you see it now?
Yep.
Okay, so when you guys go to, you can find this right here on COSI Connects. We have multiple galleries that you can view, but along with our theme that we were just talking about here, we will go ahead and do our dinosaur gallery. And this gives us...
Sorry, Kelly, we're seeing your home screen of Teams right now, just to give you a heads up.
I don't know why it is not sharing what I'm looking at. Hold on just a second. Let me try this again, guys. Sorry about that. More technology, you know?
As Kelly's getting that sorted, this is Alex. I just wanted to say I popped into the chat the infographic that Kelly was referencing. So if you haven't seen it, you can take a look at that website, and it'll take you to kind of that landing page of all of the things that we're talking about. So if you're not, we're recording this message, but if you are not taking notes, that'll be your hub. And Kelly, I think I stalled plenty of time. We can see your screen.
Perfect. All right, so anyways, here is the American Museum of Natural History Dinosaur Gallery. And so when you go on a virtual tour, you can do this with your students. This is something you could obviously have them do on their own with an end goal in mind. And it is really a neat feature that you are able to click where you want to go here. So for example, I can move on in here and see what is happening right at the very front of our dinosaur gallery. Imagine the thrill of discovering something brand new about a creature that lived millions of years ago. Right here, you will see that there is an educator guide that you can click on, and it will show right here it's more details about our gallery in addition to standards and all kinds of resources for your use. And by dragging the mouse around the gallery here, you can explore our T-Rex here. You can actually literally read everything that is in our gallery. And right here, you will be able to see in many of these different places, you can watch videos related to the topic. So right here, you can see, oops, I didn't actually mean to play it. but you can see, let me see if I can put it up. You can see videos related to topics. You can also, up here in the top, you can type in, if I wanted to see Triceratops and learn about Triceratops, it will take me to a different part of the gallery where I can watch another video. And again, I can look around the gallery, moving in closer to different places. And this is just a really neat resource that you could use with your students to be able to have them do some research on their own, and if you are not able to physically come to our museum itself right now. So I'm going to go ahead and unshare my screen here, and I am going to pass it back over to, right now I'm actually going to pass it over to Alex to talk a little bit more about our COSI Connects activities and some of the hands-on experiments that you can do.
Alex, I think you're muted. Yep.
Sorry, if I don't do that once a day, I wasn't really at work, right? I don't think that there's a PowerPoint slide for this, so I'm gonna go rogue. But what I want to talk about now is how you can kind of combine all of these things that Kelly was talking about with all of the things that we were talking about earlier with our kits, and how you can kind of build your own kits. So if you'll give me a moment, I'm gonna pop something into the chat. I'm kind of your link provider here today. So if you go to, if you go online and you look up a COSI Connects activity, all of those one-pagers will have, part of it will say, I actually have one here, part of it will say materials. So if you're able to see my screen, there's always on every single page, there's always a materials section. So you can kind of build and collect your own kits for your students based on the curriculums that the curricula that you're doing, activities that your students are interested in, things that pair really nicely with whatever you're talking about in the classroom. And what we really tried to do very intentionally are, oh yeah, so that screen share, what you're seeing now on Stephen's slide, I just popped that link in to where it's kind of an example of our water lunchbox, all of the supplies that you need to do each activity. So you will get on COSI Connects, you'll get just a free PDF that's not behind a paywall or anything. And it'll have all the instructions, but it will also show you all the materials. And what we've done really intentionally is keep those materials really basic, so that it's not something that you have to go out and do a bunch of purchasing of. So it's not like $500 microscopes or super fancy pipetting, right? It is like I literally have everything in front of me here. It's cups and it's coffee filters and it's scissors and pipe cleaners and all of these things that you might even have just sitting around in your classroom. And what we've tried to do is make these activities run just as smooth as possible, as basic as possible. So it's really nothing complicated or crazy. And so just for example, this is one of our favorite ones, the chromatography flowers. So this is just for example, I'll run us through it really, really quickly, just to show you how easy they are. The chromatography flowers are really cool. It's part of our water kit, but it's also, you can talk about chemistry, you could talk about water, it's capillary action, you could talk about plants. All you need is coffee filters and markers. And what you do is you make a little dot on your coffee filter. You stick it in a cup of water, and because the coffee filters absorb all of that water and the water filters up, what you'll see is that the ink on your marker will start to disperse, and all of the pigments that go into that color, if it's black, if it's blue, it has more than just one color, and so you'll see all those colors start to break out. And that is just one example of the many, many, many activities that we have on COSI Connects that are really easy, and some of them are really quick too. So sometimes kids at home, if you're a parent or if you're in the classroom and you need to just fill a couple minutes, really quick activities, but you can go a lot deeper too, connecting them to whatever you're talking about in the classroom. And a lot of times these activities will come with little, I guess, not freebies, but like they'll come with a product at the end. So if you take pipe cleaners and you take your coffee filter and you work them together, all of your kids will get a little coffee filter flower. That's why we call them chromatography flowers. So that's just one of our favorite activities that you can find online. But again, if you use these links or if you pick and choose some activities that you like, you can build your own kits with scissors, paper bags, plastic bags, and pretty much anything that you have around your house or your classroom already. So that is kind of how you can DIY your own kit or learning lunchbox if you want to just pick and choose one or the other in lieu of the full box itself. Happy to take any questions, Stephen, if you want me to elaborate on anything else. Otherwise, I'll pass it right back to Stephen.
Well, thanks so much, Alex and Kelly, for those 3 great examples and sharing with, hopefully everyone here saw the ease of being able to create some of these simple, engaging activities, which we believe are really fun and exciting. That way to break up some of what we're seeing on the digital side, to do some hands-on experiential learning. As I mentioned earlier, all of this is available, particularly in digital side, through that COSI Connects platform. We'll get you the toolkit. If you do not have that, you can, if you don't have a learning lunchbox or a kit, you could do it yourself and make it at home. And then also, if you're interested in getting a learning lunchbox, I will say that those are really geared for underserved, free and reduced lunch schools. So we'll do the best we can. If you want to send us your information, I'm happy to follow up with you on that to see if you qualify for that. But at the very least, you can have all these great free resources available through the COSI Connects platform. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Kimberly to see if there's any questions or any type of follow-up.
Thank you, Stephen, and great presentation, COSI. So I'm just going through, it looks like COSI was really good to get all of the questions. We do just have a few logistic questions as far as like, what's the delivery time estimate on large orders of, say, like over 20 kits?
Yeah, so if someone wanted to get like an order of kits and reached out to us, and it really depends on the availability of if we've got learning lunchboxes available, or if they wanted to get one of the retail kits, those turnarounds are typically about 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks.
Awesome, thank you. Go back through and just scan through real quick. If anyone has any questions, you are more than welcome to unmute yourself and ask it verbally as well. You don't have to place it in the chat anymore since COSI is done with their presentation.
I have a question.
Right,
Hi.
Joy.
Hi, this is Joy Wolfel, and I'm a coordinator of an after-school program in Perry County. And I am really interested in the learning lunchboxes. We too partner with CHA for our students for all 3 of our programs. So when you guys were showing that clip of the partnership with CHA handing out the box lunches, or excuse me, the learning lunch boxes and the CHA meals, that really hit home because we too had sent out those meals with our kids while we were in quarantine. So I believe that they had mentioned that these were really geared towards, I think Stephen had said that they were geared towards the free and reduced schools.
That's right.
Okay, great, Stephen. Yes, yes. So and that's us for sure. We're 100%. So, so I really would like to connect with someone to see about possibly getting these for our students. And then one other question I had too, because I'm looking at the kits online, when it says $30 for one kit, does that mean one kit per student or one kit and it offers enough supplies for 20 students or so?
Yeah, great question, Joy. So we have kind of 2 different versions here. There's the Learning Lunchbox, which is sort of the publicly funded version of what we focus on, free and reduced lunch schools. And then you're looking at kind of the retail. So if anybody wanted to get one, you could just kind of go on the website and get one. Those are per person, but then schools and nonprofits, there is a discounted version for that if you're a school or a nonprofit, if you look on that retail side. But okay. Joy, what I'd be happy to do is we'd be happy to work with you to see if there's an opportunity to get you some of these learning lunch boxes in Perry County. If you want to either email us
Okay.
We're going to have that form. We'll have you fill out that form, and then we'll circle back with you to see if there could be an opportunity to get you some of these.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you, Stephen. I look forward to working with you guys to get these for our students. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I want to just step in really quickly and say that I put in like a million links into the chat, but I did put in a WUFU form. It's WUFOO, which is kind of a funny word, but it's a WUFU form. That is the kids access form. So Stephen referenced that in the PowerPoint, but you have that link in your chat as well. And so that will really be the best place to start to get us your information. Tell us if your schools are on free or reduced lunch, about how many boxes you need. And we track all that information. So it's a growing database of schools that are seeking these free resources. Thanks, Kimberly. Yeah, that's the WUFU form right there. So you are more than welcome to just go ahead and use that if you're interested. Otherwise, we're happy to kind of work and talk a little bit more if you have further questions.
Great, thank you. Thank you for that question. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, my name's Katie Myers. I'm with Columbus City Schools. So we're like the largest urban district in the state of Ohio. So my thought around this, I know that as far as the elementary goes, we've had great partnerships with COSI in the past. And I'm thinking maybe at the middle level. So when I see some of these kits that you're talking about, so I'm the supervisor of secondary curriculum. And so obviously we're going to qualify as far as the free and reduced lunch. That's not going to be an issue. I'm just wondering about how to serve all of the kids, if that's even an option. Do you understand my question? Or if we have to think about only certain schools, and then, we have equity, I think about equity, why these kids, not these kids.
Yeah.
But I think these are great things that our kids would absolutely love.
Yeah, Catherine, you great question and great feedback, and we're excited to work with you. Maybe if we can kind of reconnect here, either shoot me your email. I'm going to put my email into the chat too, by the way.
Okay.
But let's talk offline. That's the biggest challenge we have, right? Is that being able to serve everyone. And so that a lot of folks are in need right now. And so we'd be more than happy to work with you to figure out, what kind of solutions we can come up with together to try to serve as many of these kids as we can.
Yeah, I would be really interested in that conversation, whether that's helping teachers to be able to, expand this out, or, whatever that would be. So I'll shoot you an email as soon as you put that in the chat and give you my information, and maybe we can chat.
There you go.
All right, super, thanks.
Any other questions? All right, well, if not, you guys have all the different contact information, and if you didn't get it in the chat, you are more than welcome to email me, and I can give you that information as well. Joy, you got another question?
I do have another question. Oh, I lost my microphone. Sorry, I lost my microphone. I do have another question. So I'm a Google and Zoom kind of girl. And so I know everyone's laughing at me now. How do I access the chat? Because I need to see all these links and I can't see them. So I don't want to lose you guys yet.
No, you are fine. So if you have, do you have the Teams platform downloaded on your computer?
I do not know.
Do not. Okay, that may be because it populates in a chat stream off to the side.
Okay.
So here's what I'm going to do.
If we could, Joy, could we give you just the email now?
Absolutely.
And then what we'll do is we'll just find time for us to do a call offline if that works for you.
That would be great. I'm so sorry if I'm causing.
Oh, you're fine. You're totally fine.
Okay. Okay.
You are fine.
I'll give you my email. My email, Joy, is swhite@cosi.org. swhite@cosi.org. And if you just want to shoot me that email, we'll get all your questions answered afterward.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Stephen. I really appreciate that. Oh, I even have my video up there.
Happy to help.
Thank you.
And I'm also putting my email in the chat, so in case anybody wants access to the links, just populate it all together. I'm more than happy to copy and paste them and send them out to you all. So if you don't have access to the chat in Teams, so.
Kimberly, what could you say your email as well? I'm also like Joy. I don't have. I'm a Zoom. I'm a Google Meet school. So
You are totally fine. It's super easy. It's kimberly.bell@education.ohio.gov.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
And they're not alone. I'm the same way.
It's Teams.
Yeah. It's good to know that I'm not the only one that's Teams difficulties here. So I'm not alone, which is great. So.
No.
Well, thank you, Kimberly, Kathy, everyone here on the line. We really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you a little bit about COSI Connects and some of these free resources, and looking forward to working with y'all here on next steps, and just really appreciate the opportunity.
Hey, and we appreciate you all being willing to not host, but present and share, and just going forth and creating these kits for the kids in Ohio.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Do you have any
you.
final words? All right. Everyone have a wonderful Thursday evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.